Good morning, friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to take a tour up here at the chicken coop. It has been a while since we have done a full garden tour. I don't even know the last time we did a full garden tour. Things have been just a hustle and bustle of activity. We are preparing for our Creekside Signature Experience. It's actually happening tomorrow, so today is like a big day of activity. You might see or hear some ruckus in the background. The folks are here putting up the tent, and so it is a very exciting day. The gardens up here are looking amazing. So I wanted to take an opportunity before the day just gets away from me and the sun starts to beat down on here to walk through and give you just a garden tour at the chicken coop. Now remember, this chicken coop is just now a year old. We got our girls, as we call them, as day-old chicks in the spring of 2023. It took a while to get the chicken coop built. This was a kit that we bought from Carolina Coops. Love the chicken coop, absolutely love it. You were with us that whole process of building it. We actually have a playlist of the chicken coop and the gardens, so you can check that out if you want. I had somebody ask me they were interested in buying one of these from Carolina Coops, and they said, you know, what would be something that you would do differently or change? And I said the only thing that we would do differently and that we need to do is to add gutters to it, because we get so much rain here in North Carolina. The front side is not a big deal for us because this is on a slope, so it actually like waters the annuals and then it, you know, goes on down. It's the back side that we have the most problem, so because it comes off and then it kind of goes through the chicken coop. So at some point when things slow down, we're going to put a gutter on the back side, collect it, that way I can use it to water the plants. So know that this entire area is right at, the chicken coop is a year old, and then we started planting plants in here last summer. So this is a very young garden. It is developing quite nicely. Very happy with it. So I'm just going to go through here with you and kind of give you an update on the plants, because you've really been with me as I've planted all these plants, give you an idea of how my vision for the design and how things are going to turn out. Couple of things off the top of the bat. We are in Dallas, North Carolina. We are a Zone 8A. This area, the predominant area immediately around the chicken coop, is full sun. This is not on irrigation, so none of these beds are on irrigation. If it gets water, it's the good Lord gives us the rain, or I'm having to water. You know that, I don't know, 6 weeks ago we had some tons of rain and major flooding. And then it has just stopped raining. It has completely stopped. So it is very, very dry. So I'm having to water quite frequently up here. So let me just kind of give you hopefully a bird's eye view or a big picture view of this area. We are going to be battling the sun. I'm out here early in the morning, so I'm going to try to do my best with the sun. But we have, of course, the chicken coop right below it. At the base of it in the front are the annuals. Those are the only annuals in this garden. And then as we come around, the idea is that we're going to maintain this path. Now at this point, I don't want to put flagstone. I don't want to put rock. I don't want to put any of that. I just want to keep it natural, and I want to build up the gardens here on the edge so that there's a natural path, like it's an obvious path, but it's not any kind of hardscaping. That is simply the look that I am going for. With the annuals, it will always be here in front of the girls. Those will be annuals. I switch them out. I do pansies, I did tulips, those kinds of things. And really, as this develops, this will get thick and full and go over. And then as we kind of go more towards the house, right, you can get a perspective of where we are. Now we have 3 holly trees, and then that have been here for years. These are Nellie Stevens. I do not prune them. I just want them to be full and thick and just to go for it. So they are there. Beyond them, right here, those are Firelight Hydrangeas. Those have been here for years as well. That is the start of what I call Hydrangea Hill, because down towards the cottage garden, that is the backdrop for that. Now the new additions basically are from the holly trees right forward. So all of that stuff is new. And this is a garden, y'all, really where I just have fun. Now, I know you should have fun in all your gardens, but sometimes I overthink them because they're display gardens or they're going to be gardens for publications, and I have to think about photography and all of that kind of thing. So there's a lot of things that I have to consider when I'm designing gardens. This one is for me. This is the fun one. This is where I put, if I find a plant, I can stick it in here. It doesn't have to be a certain brand. It doesn't have to be, I have to worry about, you know, photography. It is just for fun to attract pollinators, and I want color. I want loads and loads of bright, hot color. So what we have is, and I recycle a lot of plants in this bed as well. For example, these sprinter boxwoods. I have a sprinter on each end. There's one here, and then there's one down there. These originally started out as a centerpiece in the patio urns on the backyard, right? So I had these were small boxwoods. They outgrew those because I had put some annuals around that. I use it as a winter display. They got plopped in here. So that's kind of those kind of fun things that I can use in here. I love perennial geraniums. So this is one that has a neat kind of the deeper purple. I think this is like the New Hampshire purple. Right now she's not blooming as well. So what I can do easily with the perennial geraniums is come in here and just trim it up. She was in full bloom before the massive heat hit. So she slowed down a little bit, but the geraniums are great because they're like a ground cover. And then of course, phenomenal lavender. So this is just the one lavender I have up here. I want to add more. I know she's a little crooked. I'm wondering if like in wind or something, I don't know why she's leaning to the left. You know, it is what it is, people. So once the signature experience is over, because we have people touring these, I'm gonna come in here and I am basically gonna cut maybe not all the blooms off, but a bunch of them, because phenomenal lavender makes great dried lavender. It makes great floral displays. It smells so good, like a true lavender. And so I want to use those. And so once I cut it, then that will help upright her again. And we have hydrangeas. I have hydrangeas of all kinds in here. We originally started out with 3 pufferfish right here. Only one is the original. It was a huge pufferfish in full bloom when I planted it. The 2 over here perished, and that was just the heat of the summer last year. And so that is why those 2 ended up leaving. Once the season cooled off, I replaced it with, this is still a pufferfish. So we have 2 pufferfishes and then a Pinky Winky Prime there in the middle. So I'm having to hand water, but they're doing well. Throughout the gardens, I like doing some native, some fun stuff. So I've got several Salvia Greggii in here, like this is tangerine. I ordered these online. That Salvia Greggii is a great perennial that has beautiful different kinds of colors. So I have a tangerine, a blue, and a red. Agasaki Blue Fortune, y'all, love this plant. One is because my sweet friend Tina gave it to me, and so I have 3 in here, but it is a Pollinator Magnet. There's a honeybee on it right now. You'll notice that they were at least a little bit yellow at the bottom and getting a little thin. That was because of the lack of rain. We came in here and did thick mulch. This is our compost blend, and then I've been watering. I've already noticed a huge difference in them, so they're bouncing back. They will be fine. I also have, this is really fun, y'all. A lot of people ask about deer pressure. We don't have deer pressure. I'm dealing with rabbits. So this is Double Take Eternal White. This is a quince, and it is so fun. It is a new one. I actually have 3 in this garden, but the rabbits seem to really love to chew on this plant. And I was really upset last year because it was the end of the season, and I was like, man, I mean, they chewed it. And I was like, I am not gonna get any flowers whatsoever. Well, it actually bloomed. So we did get some blooms, obviously not as much as I would have if the rabbits hadn't eaten on it, but it's okay. Now, is it the actual like beautiful specimen? No, it's not. Is it okay? Yes, it is. It's fine. El Nino, my gosh, y'all, I got this as a 1 gallon last year, planted it in the ground as a 1 gallon, and look at that. It is every bit of 5 feet tall and probably 3 to 4 wide. This is like a desert orchid, loves the heat, loves the humidity, does like a lavender purpley flower on it. So fun, but it does love the heat. That's why I put it here, and it clearly is gonna be fun. It is gonna be like a multi-trunked tree. So what happened is last year, you can see here with my trunks, is that the two thicker ones, right? So here and here were from last year. I had one here and then it didn't come back in the wintertime. So these two branches right here are brand new growth from this year. So I'm gonna try to develop it this way so that right now it'll be like a 4-trunk tree. If you know crepe myrtles, kind of think of it along that kind of shape and form of a tree. Now, coming back to the annuals, just really quickly, give you an update. It was only, I don't know, was it 2 weeks? If even 2 weeks ago that I planted these annuals, and they are doing well, really well. Keeping them watered. I have done water soluble fertilizer one time. Remember, this was the hanging basket here in the middle that was the saddest, really thin, kind of brown and scraggly. Look at that. Good soil, consistent water, flushes out and does amazing. The pentas and the orange marmalade lantana are coming along quite nicely. So yeah, this is just developing. And the basil, remember, we had to trim back the basil because it was thin and leggy. Look how it's filling in. Look at that. The girls are very excited, can you tell? So everything as far as the annuals goes are doing well. We've got, of course, the grasses. Probably one of my favorite pugsters is the pugster pinker. We have one of those as a little specimen. And no, I don't mind just having one thing as a specimen here in the gardens. Totally fine. But I do have things that are repeated, right? So I have a little tater tot. I had gotten this. We had gone to, I don't remember where we went. It was something with Proven Winners, and we got them as quartz. So I have a little tater tot here, and then I have a little tater tot right there. So they're growing, right? We had the double play dolly. This is a spirea, and there's 3 of those in here too. Nice chartreuse. So you can see that I'm using my shrubs as kind of the defining border. So we have the sprinter, dolly, tater tot, dolly, tater tot, and so forth. So that's where we get the border here for the walkway, and then I'm filling in as we go back. And then, yeah, so we've got those. We've got beautiful panicle phlox that our friends at Walter's Gardens sent us this spring. And y'all, I've been so impressed with this one. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. I'll have to find it and put it up on the screen for you. But these phloxes are gorgeous. Now, I have some phlox, panicle phlox, same kind of family, in other gardens that really have a lot of powdery mildew right now just because of the stress. These do not. Like, you can see how healthy this foliage is. You can see how big those leaves are. And then, of course, that gorgeous bloom. Like, look at that. Isn't that fantastic? So I am super impressed with these phloxes, and we will definitely be looking at carrying these and offering these either this fall or next spring. My little paper bark maple, she's doing it well. She is hanging in there, just living her best life. And y'all, this tree back here, now this is not a new addition. It has been here for quite a few years. This is a fig tree that the mother plant came from my grandmother's house. So it's my mama's mama, so my maternal grandmother came from her house. My mama took a cutting off of grandmama's tree, had it at her house, then they took a cutting off and gave it to me. And y'all, this thing is huge, and it is absolutely covered in figs. I mean, we have got fig buds everywhere. The thing that we have to battle are the raccoons. The raccoons love to come at night when they start to ripen and just gorge their little bellies. But there are so many figs up here that it is okay. We can share with the raccoons. But my Emily especially, our oldest, she loves to come up here and just eat the figs. They are delicious. So very excited to see that we have an abundance of figs this year. Flipping on around, so you can see there's the truck with the setting up the tent. They were getting everything set up back there. But as we kind of come around, I have intentionally kept this section right here open, because when we come up from where, remember, this used to be the tractor shed, praise the Lord, it is gone, but we can bring machinery up right through here behind the green giants, so we can drive. I can drive Johnny, we can drive the tractor, Bobcat, whatever can come up through here, and when we walk, it is a nice natural way to walk right here. So I probably want to kind of define this a little bit more, maybe put some perennials here on the edge, some low growing perennials, we'll see. But that's kind of the idea right here, is that we have a path, because, you know, then it just comes right here nice and easy to, you know, the chicken coop. So that just kind of makes sense there. We have Gold Touch hollies from Southern Living. There are 3 here. So you can see these 3. These are very nice, low growing, soft hollies. They are not prickly. I love them though, because of course their color. Really nice chartreuse. They're a very sturdy shrub, and so they have that gorgeous chartreuse color, full sun, low growing, have handled it like a champ. They did really well over the winter. We just have a little bit, you know, like on the tips maybe that are a little crispy, or that didn't make it, you know, that didn't have some winter dieback. Other than that, doing really well. I've gotten a smoke bush, and this is supposed to be a dark one. And it's just a generic black pot smoke bush. It struggled last year when we put it in, because it was hot. We were going into the heat, so it struggled a bit. I really think that in the 3rd year, because, you know, that's what they say, right? You give your shrubs and your trees 3 years. The 1st year they sleep, 2nd year they creep, 3rd year they leap. So I'm just keeping consistent water on her. She's got now has that nice compost, and we're just going to let her go, and it'll be a fun addition, right? It is a fun addition to this space. Cherry tree. So here we have I always get it mixed up, y'all. I think it's either Kwanzaa or Yoshino. I never can remember. Okami's in the back, and so there you go. Anyway, it's a beautiful cherry tree. But what's fun is, let's see, I don't know if the perspective will show you, but okay, so here's the house way back there. There's a little window down low. That is my kitchen sink window. So when this thing is blooming, I have prime view of this. And in fact, it was so funny, because I kind of forgot over the winter that it was here. So in the springtime, I looked out my window, I was like, what is that thing out there? And I was like, oh yeah, we planted a cherry tree. So it is doing quite well. This is another one of those Gregii salvia. This is Mez Azure, and it's kind of a really nice, you know, bluish lavender color. She's doing well. She was needing some water, so I've been trying to up my game with the water on her. We have got, let's see, hibiscus in here. You were with me on the new, when I planted the new alstroemeria from Walter's Gardens. You will see these a lot as cut flowers in the grocery store. Their blooms tend to be a lot smaller in the grocery store, but look at that bold red color. Now, this is one that you can tell, right? Messes and successes. I planted it, and then I kind of walked away and forgot about it, and then that's when the rains stopped. So I've had some dieback, but so it's okay, right? The roots are happy, and so we've got the mulch in here now. You can see where I've been watering, but these are so cool. I love this plant. There's 5 plants in here. The idea is that they will grow together and make a big mass, but look at that pop of red. Isn't that just spectacular? And then here it is right beside the violet cascade butterfly bush. Now, butterfly bushes like it dry, but it was a little too dry up here. So again, I've upped my water game on her. But those Cascade, I love the Cascade series from Walter's Gardens. They are huge. So this is the Violet Cascade. And again, not even a year old in the ground, so she is doing just fine. And then the last Salvia Gregii, this is Royal Bumble. And Royal Bumble, as you can tell, is an absolutely gorgeous red. So this is kind of my red corner back here. We've got the alstroemeria, we've got the salvia, and then, oh shoot, well, it's okay. So it's not, obviously it's first thing in the morning. And so these are the daylilies, and look at that. This is, I believe, the double, pardon me. And it is a double red, very petite, very short, 12 to 18 inches daylily. They just started blooming, so I'm very excited about it for the signature experience. But I've got 5 of them right here around the Ashley River Angel. So this is really fun. And in this area, this is the spot where I really have worked hard to try to have like year-round interest, in the fact of, you were with us when we planted these. Greg from Power Planter, owner of Power Planter, was actually here with us, and we planted these daylilies. When we planted the daylilies, and you can still see a little bit of the debris, I have daffodils in here. So we planted the daylilies between the daffodils, right? So in the early spring, you'll have those gorgeous daffodils, then the daylilies will come up, plus we just added the Apache rose grass. So this is gonna be a 4-foot grass. There's 3 of them, 4 feet tall. They're gonna make one huge like connecting area to really anchor that corner. Super excited about that, yes. And then we have one more sweet tree right here. This is the Bosque Elm, and it's, yep, hanging in there. So the idea is that because we had to remove a lot of the trees in here, they were either leaning, they were just not good. Obviously, we had to make some room for the chicken coop. So even though we took some trees out, we are bringing them back. And yes, as the years go on, they're gonna give me more shade. But in the meantime, I'm gonna fill in with perennials underneath there. Once those perennials start to struggle, then I can move them however I need to for appropriateness. Look at that, the top of the tent's put together. One more area that we have that is still part of the overall chicken coop gardens, right? You can see here we have, this is just natural wood chips. So when the folks come through for the power lines and they are, trimming limbs and having to cut down trees, my mama is the queen of asking for the wood chips. So that's what these are, right? So these are very green, raw wood chips from the power company when they trim trees. So this is great because we drive all the time on here, tractors, bobcats, Johnny. So this is kind of more of the road. This little island bed is, we're developing it like all the gardens. A lot of the trees we tried to leave in here, I think these are all hardwoods. We've got maples, we've got oak, we've got maybe a birch in here, I don't know, all sorts of things. But of course, when you are planting under trees, you're dealing with roots, and then you're dealing with the trees sucking up the water. So it's all doing relatively well. Just having to kind of maintain it. We did not have time to come in here and put the compost blend on this. I do want to do that either this late summer or the fall to feed the plants, because they're hanging out, but they're not thriving. And I'll show you an example. So this is Little Miss Figgy. It is a fig tree, obviously, from our friends at Southern Living Plant Collection. I put one here and then I put one in a pot. I'm going to show you the difference in the one in the pot. But it's just kind of hanging out. And then my yarrow, y'all, the rabbits. The rabbits have been coming and munching. So I have 4 of the new yarrow from Proven Winners. And those 2, they did a good job eating it. And then this is the one that they left alone the best. And then the one behind it, you can see that they've been munching on as well. But hydrangeas in here, the abelias are doing great. They're doing wonderful. We've got limelight hydrangeas back there in the back. They're doing quite nicely. Daylilies, right? So all sorts of different fun plants in here. We'll come back over here real quick. And the Japanese maple, this is a Crimson Queen. She's just kind of hanging out and not really, she's not thriving, but she's not struggling. She's just kind of staying put. I think once we can get some good compost around her, consistent water, she'll take off. And once she gets established, I just have to think about that as far as, what she's doing. Now, the feather falls. I have feather falls in containers. These are the feather fall grasses. It's a carex. that were in the urns by the garage. And for the signature experience, I think they were starting to get too much sun in the summertime. I had those there in the winter and they did great, but they were, especially this one was really starting to show some signs of burn, and they were just looking a little sad. So I just pulled them out of the urns, and then because we're dealing with water issues, it makes sense to me to go ahead and put them in pots with great compost and potting soil, and just that way I can keep them watered. I know it sounds weird, put them in the ground versus a container. They're gonna hold more moisture right now in the pots because their roots are not as developed. And so I just stuck them in the landscape. Now this fall, when things cool down and we get more consistent rain, then I'll add them to the landscape. But for now, they're in pots right here, and you know, I love it. So it just adds a little bit of different dimension. Don't be afraid to put containers in the garden. It works, people. And then Greensboro red camellias right there, and a little firelight tidbit, a little hydrangea right there. Now, let's go back over here. There's a lot of things going on, y'all. And I'm also being easily distracted because there's people arriving. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I can't wait. You people who are coming to this signature experience, this is gonna air after the signature experience. I just can't wait. It's so fun. Oh my gosh. Okay, so quick back over here before I forget. It was just a couple of days ago, it was just this week that I planted the super blue angelonas, the sun beanies. Everybody's hanging out, everybody's doing well. It's all going quite nicely in here. And then you were with me when I did the Vago self-watering containers. I pulled the tomato plants out of the cottage garden, the garden boxes. They were volunteers. So I pulled out two. So one was here and one was there. Well, this one, bless its little heart, it did not like being transplanted. So it quickly burned up and perished. This guy, oh my gosh, y'all. This is, look. This is, look at those sweet little cherry tomatoes right there. These are the sweetest. This is Goldheart? I think it's Goldheart. Heirloom cherry tomatoes that are orange. The sweetest things ever. Y'all, every day this thing grows like 6 inches, it seems like. The container is working great, and so very, very happy with that. I had the strawberries from Proven Winners in a container. They literally have been living here for years. They were sad. They were like hidden in a corner somewhere. I pulled them out, brought them up here, so now they're getting consistent water, and we're already getting some red berries on them. So there you go. It's a work in progress, y'all. And then, so what I put in this one with the tomato plant that died, this is the Taste of Heaven blackberry from Proven Winners. It is new. It is a thornless blackberry, and clearly it is very thornless. But it's supposed to be the tastiest blackberry you've ever had. And you don't really even have to trellis it. It's very strong and sturdy. But I had this container and I was like, well, why not? It's a self-watering container. Let's go ahead and add it. And I planted this as a quart, but it has grown, I would say at least, 6 to 8 inches in the last 10 days that I put it in here. So very, very happy. The container, has the Aquapot Insert in there. Everybody's doing well. Temple of Bloom, cannot wait. Oh, look y'all, we've got buds on Temple of Bloom. Look at that. Oh, great pollinator attractor. The butterflies love this. It too will be a small tree, very much like a crepe myrtle, kind of that shape, multi-trunked, has really great interest on the bark. Really, really fun. And then last but not least, the last garden over here is the kind of the shade woodland garden of the chicken coop. So this is the one where I have a ton of fun in here right now. So what happens with this bed is that it gets morning sun. It is, let's see what time it is. If my watch will tell me what time it is. Hang on. It's 9:30 in the morning, so you're starting to see what kind of light it is getting. It will get good sun until about lunchtime here on the front. This is where I'm having to make sure I'm keeping lots of water, and not lots of water, but regular water on the plants, because again, underneath the trees are competing. There's very little organic matter in here, and so it's just straight red clay. So this is one we're gonna have to work on for years to come, on keeping that, building up my organic matter in here. Everillo grass, Tough Stuff hydrangea, she's doing quite nicely. the rhododendrons back here. There are 2 behind the Spanish urn right here. Like sublime hydrangeas, sweet and low sarcococa back here, right? So it's a great evergreen, shade loving, easy plant. Ferns, autumn brilliance. This container right here, y'all, is one of my traditional containers that I put an insert in, an Aquapot light insert. Clearly, the plants love it. Dear heavens to Betsy, that, and I have my bird bath right above it. So every couple of days, you know, I empty my bird bath. So I just dump the water into the pot. Yeah, hosta, euchera, and then I think there are 2 ferns in here. So you've got a Japanese painted fern here, and then you have the autumn brilliance fern also in there. They're loving life. That Aquapot insert is doing great. The ones that I'm really having to struggle with right now is because, remember, in the storm, we had 2 pine trees, you can still see that they're here, fell. So my canopy, if you look up, like right there, see how open you can see the sky right there? And so we're getting a lot more sun in the area of where my Florida sunshines are and my Charlotte's Web spider's web fatsia, and my poor little Astilbe, the dark side of the moon, he got crushed. So we're getting a lot more sun here, and so the water they're just struggling. So I'm having to keep the water. I'm thinking what happens is when the trees finally come down is that we're gonna have to maybe dig the Florida sunshines up and put them further back so they get more shade. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. But all the containers, you know, doing really nice. My Let's Dance hydrangeas here on the front, they are brand new, y'all. Again, 6-9 months in the ground. The heat, I'm having to water. They're gonna get established. We're gonna build up organic matter in here, and then they will be fine. You were with me when we planted this container. It is, oh my gosh, huge. Now, keeping it real, my friends. Yes, my sweet potato vine is quite holy, very holy, because, let's see if I can find somebody. On the back side, we have had, I think it's the potato beetle. Somebody has been enjoying this lovely buffet. There they are. See that little shiny metallic looking, I think that's a potato beetle? I don't know, but that's the one that is definitely eating the plant. You could easily spray it with some sort of insecticide if you wanted to. I just don't want to. You know what? It is what it is. Now, this thing is, because there's so many plants in there, and it is a really large container. I don't know if it'll make it all the way through the summer as far as watering, because I'm having to water it every day. I imagine when July and August hit with the heat, it may just be too much. So my idea is, one, I could take, once it's just too much, take it out, put caladiums in it. And I really do think I'm gonna have to move it because it gets such intense morning sun. So I'm trying to find a tree that's further back in here that I can move it back to. But really the tree that I want to, which is this tree right here, that's the tree that's gonna have to come out. So we'll figure that out. But everything up here, I mean, it's growing and blooming and thriving. When the tree came down, the top came down, it took out one of, if not my biggest Invincible Sublime Hydrangeas, which is this one right here, and just crushed it. It's okay, y'all. It is what it is. And so remember, with your shrubs and your perennials, your main concern is your root system. Thinking long term, right? Your root system is what's so important. When you have cases like this where it gets crushed, there's damage, you have deer, somebody runs over it, a deer eats it, a tree falls on it, whatever may happen, may lose your top foliage or the vast majority of it for a season. But as long as it's healthy, the root system is healthy, it'll actually probably come back stronger. So while it is sometimes a little defeating to feel like, to have those kind of setbacks, think long term. You gotta change your mindset, and I'm preaching to myself. Now, I'll let you go, but I want to show you this. So remember talking about little Miss Figgy over there in the ground? Yeah, here's little Miss Figgy in the pot. And this is the one that was struggling when I planted it. It is so much bigger. And this is just a traditional pot with Proven Winners potting soil and land and seed compost. There you go. And it is quite happy. So everything up here at the chicken coop is doing really well. Very happy with it overall. I don't have really any plans on adding any more plants this season. We are at the end of June. It is hot, and so my main goal right now is to maintain water, maintain, and keep everybody healthy until we hit the fall. And then if I want to add stuff, the fall is a great time to add your perennials and your shrubs back into these areas. So anyway, it is a fun day, but I have got to get off because one, I gotta water, right? Gotta make sure it's nice and pretty for tomorrow, the signature experience. And for all of our guests that are gonna be coming up here and looking at everything. And then there's so much hustle and bustle over here. I just cannot wait. We will give you, we are gonna have a video, like a recap of the signature experience to kind of give you a little bit of a behind the scenes. It's just gonna take some time, right? It's gonna take some time, one, for us to recover, and then two, the editing. So we've got to, we're gonna have a photographer here all day. So Maggie will be here taking great photography. Megan's gonna be filming. So we are gonna show you what the signature experience is like, but you're just gonna have to give us some time, give us a little bit of grace period so that we can get everything together. I promise we're gonna show you the fun that is had. Cannot wait. It is so stinking exciting. All right, my friends, as always, we hope you have found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.